Hi, my name is Anna or Anna Olivia. I work currently at a medical front office, and I just wanted to share my tips and tricks, how I landed the job, the benefits, the potential cons, and I'd like you to see if it's for you too. Maybe you'll really enjoy it. So keep watching to see my tips. Okay, so first a little background as to what led me to go into the front desk of an urgent care. As you know, we're still in the aftermath of, or not even the aftermath, just the math, just the current, pandemic situation. It really has caused a lot of us to think, especially those of us who study something more creative in school or are drawn to non-essential jobs and even businesses or fields. So for me, I studied communications. I learned cinematography. On my own, also did a lot of freelance writing. First I had an internship for Society 19, and I would write them 5 articles a week for free, which was part of the deal. Like I'm not mad about that, but it was just such a great experience. I learned how to format things. I learned about keywords and SEO, which is search engine optimization, which I could do a whole video on. So I'm not going to talk too much about it right now. But enough said, that's what I did in college. I graduated this year, basically over Zoom. I do have my diploma in my room framed, and I'm very grateful for that. Anyhow, big changes were happening, and I was thinking, okay, I really need to work, and I really, not even for the money, but I just need to spend my time well, because I have so much free time right now that I'm wasting so much more of it than I am using it to contribute to society. And that, luckily it was only like 3 or 4 weeks that was happening, but that was not the best psychologically for me, and I was just kind of lost. I was like, shoot, like now I have this creative communications degree, and it's very applicable, but what can I do creatively that's really going to work? And so I applied on LinkedIn. I think I applied to like 10 jobs every single day without fail, something in the communications fields. But most of them were MLMs, and I figured that out after I got emails saying, congratulations, you can join the seminar. So in my head I'm like, oh, that's a good sign. And I'm sure that it was, or it is for some people, but I knew I didn't want to go into sales. I didn't want to earn money based on commissions. I'd rather just get an hourly wage. So luckily I overheard that this company called EXA Urgent Care, which is a corporation of several urgent cares in California, was hiring for front desk. I honestly thought I wasn't qualified because I don't have much medical knowledge. Still don't have much medical knowledge. I'm getting better, but I didn't see myself in that field. I was interested because it sounded like it was a solid position, and we knew the COO of the company, very nice guy. But yeah, it didn't really cross my mind all that much until I applied, and I didn't hear back right away, and I was thinking this could actually be really awesome. It's close to my house. I could drive there every single day, and I'd be able to go somewhere, go somewhere for work and meet real people and really help people, even if it's just putting in their insurance or calling them saying, oh, we have your COVID-19 test results ready, because we do COVID testing at our urgent care. So that's a big part of the job. But it just also took me being kind of, like a pebble in the people's shoes on LinkedIn. I would connect with different people from EXA and say, hey, I saw you're hiring, I applied. If there's a way that you could look at my application, or if you have any say in that, please let me know. Just very politely, but also directly saying, hey, I applied. I want to keep on saying that I applied until I hear back. But it wasn't too long after that I was actually hired, and then it said to go to training, to orientation, about an hour from us, in this huge corporate building, which was very exciting. Like, we actually were in a skyscraper building there for a while, and so that made me happy. I'm like, this company has a lot of credibility behind it. So does my speech, much credibility. And it was just so much to learn. It was a little overwhelming. We had to learn about all the different types of insurance that we take, that we don't take. We learned about what to do if someone has a situation that cannot be at all rectified by us, like for example, if they have a stroke, how to call 911. We know how to call 911, but when to call 911 and what to do when the paramedics do come, how to remain calm, just different types of protocol, what counts as fraud, different just little legal bits here and there, what happens when people miss a payment, gosh. And so honestly, that was only a little bit of what I had to learn though. You don't really learn things until you're out there and experiencing things and are just told to do things you might not be comfortable doing it right away, but you get more and more comfortable as time goes along. So after corporate training, we started hands-on training. So we were paid for all of that, which was great. And we also did compliance training where we learned this is safe, this is not safe, you know what to do if there's a biohazard. So very helpful, also paid for that. And I remember the first couple of weeks, the phone would just ring and I was pretty anxious. I'm like, I don't want to answer the phone. What if I don't know the answers? Or what if someone's really angry? So it took me a while to, firstly, just be comfortable answering the phones. I'm used to using the smartphone. You know, I'm a modern person. It's kind of a step back in time, but it's so helpful. It's so helpful. And, you know, using extensions and communicating information clearly with people, you just learn over time to not stop dead in your tracks when they have a question and just answer it the best that you can with the information you've been given. If you feel really uncomfortable saying anything, then just put them on hold and then ask clinical team, ask the MAs, the medical assistants, that's what MA stands for in case you didn't know, nurse practitioners or the doctor on duty, just really quickly say, hey, I have a potential patient on the phone, they're wondering what to do in this scenario. So that being said, of course, each situation is different and you'll figure it out, but over time got very much much more comfortable answering the phones. But the first thing that I really loved doing at work was registering patients. So what you would do is you would get their registration papers as they handed them in, or somehow after they handed them in. We have a new system now that I think works much better, but when I first was working at Exeter, there were huge lines out the door. Some of them had symptoms, some of them didn't, but the line probably took like 3 hours to get through to even just get your paperwork in to get your COVID tests, and that's where all the COVID test people had to wait. So they were pretty grumpy by the time they reached us, and they always asked us, where are we in the queue, you know, what happens next? But it wasn't that bad at first, and I would just take the registration and put their information in. And it was pretty therapeutic, even running the insurance and saying, oh, are you eligible or not? And then learning if the insurance isn't working, it's probably just a system error. And then you call the actual insurance company, ask, is this patient still active? Can we use their insurance? And then just figuring out, okay, we charge this person a copay, we don't charge this person a copay. It all depends on what your particular clinic does. For us, we don't charge copays for COVID tests. To be honest, that's the majority of the role, is just registering patients and greeting them and solving their problems over the phone. A common problem that we have is patients can't always see their test results online because their email is wrong on our end. So it's a very easy problem to fix, and they're so grateful. You just hear it in their voices through the phone that you're willing to take the time and help them. I'm trying to think, you remove patients, you do daily reconciliations, which is really great because I need the finance help. I need to know how to see where our costs go wrong and how to make up for them. How to make up for them? That's correct. Yeah, how to make up for them, how to bookkeep. Yeah, just different methods. The difference between a credit card payment and then solid cash payment, what we do for solid cash payments, how we treat them differently. And then doing email lists. Of course, I had a little bit of email list experience in my last internship, but this one was a bit different because we give emails and then we see if someone responds or not, you know, how our ratings are going up or down. And then we can report to our center manager or our center lead if we have any grievances or if there's a patient problem, if they have a complaint. Sometimes we'll send out billing inquiries. And every single case is different, especially when it comes to urgent care matters. Say someone got injured at work, so we have to give them different kind of paperwork than we would for someone who just got injured in their backyard, because that's a workers' compensation case and they're employer is going to pay for it rather than them paying with insurance. And we calculate different charges because we actually get quite a few out-of-pocket patients that don't bring their insurance with them or don't have it. And yeah, even just little rules like, for example, we don't ever take insurance for a tuberculosis test. That's always self-pay, even if you do have insurance. So just being aware of all these little details that work together and having a friendly and optimistic attitude is really important. And you have to be humble. Like, you have to at least admit when you can be wrong and accept criticism with grace, which is something I hate doing, but I do it because that's a huge part of this job. You're gonna get some things wrong. You might make some mistakes that seem really big at the time, like missing a copay. I've done that before, or telling a customer or a potential patient something slightly wrong. I've done that before as well. So we learn so much from the things that we do wrong. And I'm not saying to go out of your way to make mistakes, but they're going to happen inevitably because we're human beings and we're just learning as we go along. And working at the front desk and reception, you learn a lot of different communication skills, and there's a lot of opportunity for growth. I personally have actually been promoted from part-time to full-time employee with all the benefits. I know one day you can become a trainer or a supervisor if you want to go down that route. Some people are momentarily at the front desk so that they can later go to med school and maybe help supplement their tuition with the income that I make from there while getting a bit of clinical experience, or at least front desk clinical experience or administrative experience. And I don't regret it at all. I'm very happy there. It's been a nice amount of income, and I've just really learned a lot about independence, taking care of myself and teamwork, and building a good rapport with my fellow employees. It's really nice just having something that feels a little bit normal in these times too. Even just the most menial things like, oh, we're treating each other to Starbucks on a daily basis because A, we can afford it now, and B, because we have people to treat to Starbucks, and because we're a team working together and we just want to make sure everyone is awake and they feel comfortable here, just like the patients. So if you're looking to go into administrative work in any kind of medical field, I would just recommend looking online and seeing what positions are open and applying. If you want to take a class, that's great. I think most of it, like I said before, you learn from experience. So I wouldn't worry too much about getting a certificate. You can if you want to, and I think that's wonderful, but I don't actually think it's that important. As controversial as that sounds, it's great to finish something. And what I mean by that is if you're in school, in college or something, or you're in community college and you're working towards getting a certificate or a degree, it's good to finish that so that employers do see, oh, once you start a project or once you start this goal, you don't stop, or you see things through, because that's a really important skill to have as an employee, especially in the medical field. So that's my first tip, just apply. And when they do interview you, if you don't know certain things, or if you have to be honest and say, I haven't had experience with Excel, I haven't had experience with any kind of medical work, just be honest about that, but also say how much you're willing to learn and how quick you are at learning things. Don't be dishonest if you're not a quick learner. Just find a way to put a positive spin on it. And this applies to all jobs as well, anything that could be a potential downfall for you or liability, turn it into an asset. And I completely quoted Matthew Hussey from his book saying that, so I'm not taking credit for that statement, but turn any potential liabilities into assets, and that will really help the whole application process. Also, if you have a friend who's looking for a job and you guys are doing it at the same time, get hired at the same time, that would be great, because any kind of support from familiar faces is wonderful. I'm glad to know a few people at my company just as family friends. It's just how it worked out. And I even run into some family friends who come in there for urgent care matters once in a while, just because we're kind of a very tight-knit local community. But if not, then you will hopefully form good friendships, and especially in the workplace, just have a good community and be able to talk comfortably with people and hear their stories, which I am very grateful for. I Personally, I'm a bit introverted, but if I don't see people face to face, I go pretty insane. And I think all of us are a bit like that. So for many different reasons, I think you should go for it. If you don't think you will go crazy being at a desk, I think it's a great place to start, or even to stay for a while. So yeah, I wish you the best of luck if you do plan to go into a medical office as a front desk associate. Yeah, and that's basically all I have to say about it. It's pretty straightforward, but that's been my experience. I really love it. I don't regret anything about the process. I hope to one day be a supervisor there. Ideally, in my perfect world, I would do something creative full time, and I'd get paid for it. I would love to one day have a publication where I'm the lead editor. So I do a lot of creative things on the side. I do some content creation. That's mostly to relax and to showcase my creativity. That's not to make money. One day that might change. But in the meantime, I'm so happy that I have this job. And I'm hoping that if you're drawn to it, you'll have a similar experience.